Namaste. Welcome all the participants. Welcome all the volunteers for the English morning meeting. Namaste, Sharmila Didi.
जी नमस्ते यशवंत जी. Namaste to everyone. Welcome to the morning session. So we are doing exercise 1, exercise 2, and we are on step 1 of exercise 2. So in exercise 1, we observed the self by the self. And now in exercise 2, while continuing to observe the self by the self, we are now also going to be observing the body by the self, and also the interaction that I, the self, have with the body. So we said in the very first step that I exist. I meaning the self. How do we know this? You can't see the self with the gross eyes, but you do know that you exist. And we are able to see the activities that are going on within us. So on that basis, we can say that I exist. I am there. So in the last exercise, in exercise 1, we spent a lot of time observing the imagination, the desire which is associated with the feeling, the thought, the expectation. These activities that go on continuously within us, we discuss these in length. So based on this, I can see that I exist. If I ask you, do you exist? You will say, yes, of course I exist. And I can see the activities that are going on in myself. In exercise 2, step 1, we are also saying now that the body exists. And when we ask, how do you know that the body exists? The simplest answer that many people give is, I can see it. But what if your eyes are closed? Do you still know that the body exists? Can you reply this in the chat? When your eyes are closed, can you still say that the body exists? Yes or no? Yes. You can say that the body exists, even though you can't see with the eyes. But there are so many other sense organs through which you can perceive. The eyes are only one of the sense organs. So you have the sense of touch. And who is really paying attention to that sensation? You are. So like yesterday we were saying, if you put your foot on the ground, barefoot, probably the ground will be cooler than your foot. That coolness, that sensation that you experience on the foot, with that also you will be able to say the body exists. There is, say there is a breeze blowing. When that breeze comes in touch with your skin, the skin of the body, you will get a sensation. And you will be able to say, yes, the body exists. So at this moment, even though we have gotten used to using the eyes to see outside, if we really pay attention, the eyes are also sense organs. Some image is formed in the eye, and this image, we decipher it and we say that this is the body. When the image, when we are standing in front of the mirror, or if we see our hand with the eyes, the sensation of this this image of the hand being formed in the eye, this, when I read this sensation, then I can say, yes, this is a part of my body. So basically, we are able to make out the body by reading the sensations from the body. Is it fair to say that? Yes? Yes. So our whole assignment yesterday was to do with this. Are we able to see that we are there as the self and how we came to this conclusion? Are we able to see that the body is also there and how did we come to this conclusion? By seeing the body with the eyes or some other way also? So even when your eyes are closed, can you see that you also exist and the body also exists? So this we were supposed to do yesterday, and try to observe that you, the self, and the body, they are two distinct realities, two different types of realities. Also, we were going to try to observe this interaction that happens between the self and the body. The interaction we will go into a lot more depth as we go further in the steps. But at least this part of, being there and the body also being there, you being there and the body being there, we were supposed to observe this throughout the day yesterday. And if we have any issue with this, any problem, any difficulty, or any observation we would like to share regarding this, then we can discuss that now. This should be very simple because we have been seeing the body, just that perhaps we may not be in awareness that we are reading a sensation and therefore we know that the body is there. But if we have any observations, any questions, any doubts regarding this step, we can discuss it now. Like we were discussing yesterday, when one sense organ doesn't seem to be functioning well, the self tries to get the information from some of the other sense organs, but essentially is trying to get information of the outside world in some way or the other. And so we will see it is only through the sense organs as of now that we really get any information from the outside.
Didi, namaste. Namaste, सभी को.
Namaste.
Didi, I want to know one thing. Like, I'm able to see one assumption
Yeah.
within me regarding this, that whenever I see myself, okay, because
Mhm.
for so many years I have heard this thing that mind is there, heart is there, okay,
Mhm.
and whatever is the reaction of self comes, that generally comes on heart. I am able to see this. That's why many times when I see self, even I'm closing my eyes before 5 minutes as well, you were saying, when we see within. So I don't know, that impression goes that something is happening at the position of heart. You know, this. So it is also assumption only, because self is not obviously placed in heart. It's not like this, because we have been listening in many movies. Dil mein sab baitha hai, like this. So this is assumption only. We should see it like this only. And how should we increase the capability to see the subtleness of this subtler or subtlest level things, that we would be able to see it rather clearly? These are my two questions, Didi.
Ji. So very nice. It's very true, like you said, that we have been conditioned to some extent about impact of our feelings, our thoughts on the heart. And this is also a fact that our emotions do have an impact on the heart, which is a part of the body. In fact, all our thoughts, each and every thought that we have, has some impact on the body. But we may not be able to see it as of now. But as we start becoming aware more and more about our imagination, even if we just explore this a little bit, we will be able to see this. For instance, you may notice sometimes that when you are very anxious, you might start experiencing sweat on the body. Have you seen that?
Yeah, yeah, Didi.
Yes. So now you're feeling that anxiety within you is having some impact on the body, and you can see sweat dripping down. Similarly, many people, you may have also experienced, first time you have to go on stage or you have to talk to somebody like a big crowd, you feel a little apprehensive. You feel,
Hmm.
so many people, I have to say something, should not go wrong, this, that. But you also feel some strange sensation in the stomach. Have you
Hmm.
noticed?
Hmm.
Yes. So these are some of the impacts of the self on the body, which you can see even now.
Ji.
You will also notice sometimes that when you are very worried, very anxious, you notice that your heart is beating faster.
Exactly.
Yes. So there are impacts on various parts of the body, but yes, it is a known fact that um, our emotions, our feelings have a large impact on the heart also. But I would say not only on the heart, on various parts of the body, but yes, a large portion you will notice is impacting the heart. So that to some extent is true. It's not just an assumption. But at the same time, I would say we keep it open and start observing the impact of all our emotions and thoughts on the entire body.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Ji.
so that's one thing. The other thing that you asked, how do we become more aware of these subtle things which we cannot see with the eyes. So it is true that it is subtle and it is difficult to see, and therefore, even in our conditioning, it is not fully addressed, particularly in our education. If we look back at our tradition, we are very conditioned to the fact that Atma is there, and all this we hear.
Ji.
So at least in our tradition, we have that conditioning. But at the same time, we have this conditioning also through education, that the body is everything. And it is the brain that does everything in the body. Because obviously, what you can see with the eyes is only the body. What you don't see, if you just don't know of its presence, or you don't even think about it, then obviously the conditioning is little flawed. But it is a conditioning nonetheless, isn't it? So even though we may have heard in our tradition so much about the Atma and all that, somehow when we go into formal education, that conditioning keeps becoming wiped out, or at least a new conditioning starts emerging, that I am body. Right from childhood, if you see small books, small children's books, there used to be mostly talk about the body. And when we say I, we are conditioned into saying I, or thinking that I means some of my attributes. Like I may introduce myself as I am what name, I say the name. Then I say, I identify with the profession, I am a doctor. Then I identify perhaps with my age, perhaps with my family, where I belong to, where I live, and so on. But this is not who I am, isn't it? So that question has to be asked, which, at least in modern tradition, now, even though in medical education and so many other forms of education, it was not being addressed. But now, slowly, that question is being asked because it is a reality. Right? There is some hint of that even today, even though we say brain does everything. Because then we go and say that the brain does this thing, but you can trick the brain into doing this. But that question doesn't arise, that who is tricking the brain then? Who is that? So somewhere that hint is there, but we are not very clear about it. So that clarity now we are trying to get, at least through information, isn't it? But as information, again, it is conditioning. So ultimately, direct observation is the only way that you can really come to know. Like this, step one, what we are saying, do you know you exist? Now, if we ask that question, everybody will say, yes, definitely, I know I exist. But what is that I? That clarity may not be there, but this much 100% we can say that we exist. If somebody says you don't exist, we will not believe it because we know we exist. Isn't it so? So as we go deeper and deeper, more and more subtle, we can see the more details. I think we are fortunate that there are people who have been able to see the subtlest realities and therefore are able to guide us, or at least help us to be conscious that there is this entity. Otherwise, life is, it seems a struggle because you think things are happening randomly. You think the body suddenly gets diseased and you can't connect up as having any say in that matter. So then it feels like you are a puppet and things are just happening and you have to bear with it. But the fact that we can observe our thoughts, we can observe our feeling, we can observe that this feeling that I am having this moment is making me happy or unhappy. And as we study the body, this feeling that I am having at any moment is having some impact on the body. Now it becomes more clear that I have some say in the matter. I am very much involved, I am very much responsible for at least my feeling, my thought, how I feel, whether I am feeling comfortable, uncomfortable, happy, unhappy. And then I also have a say in what's happening in the body because I am more subtle than the body. And this is the law that the subtle is what has more impact on the gross. But coming to your question of how to enhance this seeing of the reality. So if you notice that earlier we weren't aware of our thoughts and feelings, isn't it?
जी, जी, जी.
But then we were asked to pay attention, even though we can't see anything. But it was just that we have to pay attention inside, we have to pay attention inside. And our attention was mostly outside because all our interaction with the outside is through the body, through the sense organs of the body. Our attention was mostly outside. We never paid attention inside. Now that we started paying attention inside, what did we have to do to be able to witness the thoughts? We just decided, isn't it? In exercise 1, this is what we were saying. Just stay with the decision to observe, don't react. Step 1, this is what we did, no? In exercise 1. And initially, though we could not see the feeling, we could only see the thought. Sometimes we, in the beginning, we may not have been able to see the thought. But as we continued with that decision, we were able to see the thought. Now, the thought is more gross compared to the feeling. So we saw it earlier. Now, when we asked to see the feeling, again, there was a lot of confusion about where is this feeling. We are not able to see it. But what we did, we stayed with the decision, then we were able to observe the feeling also. Similarly, if we stay with the decision and don't react, don't panic, don't try to rush it, because whenever we are doing those things, the observation stops. And we again come back to being flowing with the imagination or getting entangled with the imagination. No?
जी, जी.
That process we have to continue with patience, but it will take time. It is only about paying attention. Right now, if we see, we all have 24 hours in the day. That is the same for all of us. How we spend that time is a choice that we make for whatever reason. Somebody may spend that time more in their job. Someone may spend time more in the family. So we pay attention to the job, we pay attention to the family. How much time and attention we give to ourselves, that also is important. That will decide how much we are able to see. That is one factor. The other factor is what are our previous sanskars? So those of us who have been working on this earlier also, they may be able to see things a little faster. Those who have started work on these only now for the first time, they may take little longer time. But eventually we will all see. But it requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of time. But I think the important thing here is that at least we have become aware that this is important and we have to pay attention inside. We don't know how many lifetimes we may have been through just looking outside and then not really paying attention inside. But I would say that everybody who is connected to these sessions, somewhere we have that sanskar from before. So it is not a coincidence that we are moving on and we are continuing. Otherwise, many people join and leave very quickly if they don't see any instant gratification. See, that is also another thing. We are used to using the sense organs for instant gratification, instantly being rewarded. Like, for instance, I think I will get happiness from tasting something sweet. And I have something in mind which I have had before. So I go there and I eat. Instantly, I get that taste. And I feel that instant gratification, instant reward. Now we get used to that kind of thing within also, that it should happen now. How time we have been working on it for so long. But these are more subtle this is a more subtle reality, the self. And the activities within the self also are what we are witnessing is going from gross to subtle. So it will take time. But I think the important thing to see here is that we need to continue with it. We need to keep working on it, and it will happen. To have that assurance that it will happen. Even now, we do have the assurance that we are feeling better by starting that process. Somewhere we are in the middle of the process. Some of us may be a little further ahead, some of us may be a little behind, but that's the whole point, that we help each other to try to raise the path for everyone, you know, to get to that higher level. But it will happen. Of course, all this, reading from the traditional, whatever texts we have, all that helps, because again, it draws your attention to that reality. But it should not remain at that. It should not remain at the word. We have to have that decision to observe it in us. Everything, whether it be exercise 1 and 2, whether it be some religious texts we read. The more time we spend on all these, the more the attention goes towards it. And ultimately, we will directly be able to observe many of these things. So many practices are also there. But this is one thing that we have started in the morning sessions. Of course, we can, if we think that some other practice we have been doing, which is helpful, certainly we can continue. Like many people mentioned that they were reading their religious texts and they could not understand many things. But after trying to observe within, now they are able to understand those texts better. They are able to understand what is being said in that better. That's because now we are aware of many things within us also. So I think the process takes time, but we have to be patient and persevering. Yeah. Any question in this?
No, Didi, thank you so much for clearing all the doubts. And I know I'm able to understand this. Like two lines only, I would like to say. Like once one doctor was there, and he also told to my father. His name is Rajendra Kumar. So he told that Modi ji, आप खुद का ध्यान नहीं रखते हैं, आप अपने शरीर का ध्यान नहीं रखते हैं. So in this as well, if we clearly see, so he was also mentioning this thing that you are taking decision
Yes.
and you have to take care of your body.
Yes.
maybe
True.
he was not very conscious that he is speaking this line to convey
Yes.
this thing, but
Yes.
somewhere hint was there, as you told.
Yeah.
And Didi, once I listened this thing that Shiva means this only, that seeing the subtlest thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I am able to see this thing, that this Shiva means, in Sanskrit the word Shiva means that seeing which is not means which is difficult to see from these eyes, our bodily eyes. So I
Mm-hmm.
am able to see that my Shiva is getting increased, my Shiva is getting enhanced, profound, by and by. So I am feeling relaxed and fulfilling as well. So thank you so much,
Very
Didi.
nice. Very nice. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else has any sharing or any question? Yesterday, somebody had raised their hand and had some question, but we weren't able to get to it. So we can discuss it now.
Firstly, I could able to see the body even after closing the eyes if I
Mm-hmm.
excessively close. And I think the major sense is like touch sense. Outside the body, also inside the body, there is like this heartbeat and all. I could able to see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Through the sense of touch, I could able to see this.
Very
And
nice.
also, I'm getting this clarity, as you said. These subtle activities are more impact on the gross, like
Mm-hmm.
uh, eye on the body, and similarly also feeling thought, thought to expectation.
Ji.
Can you give some more, yeah, maybe clarity
Yeah.
on that subtle
Yeah.
less impact on the gross?
Yeah. Any question you have?
Uh, Question actually, this is not to this what we are discussing now.
Mm-hmm.
This yeah, this I'm participating in UHV too, so I had this doubt like this trust. We have trust is universal,
Mm-hmm.
and we find it like other is similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
We are complementary to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and this has to be universal, like for all time, space, and persons. So that means yeah, I was imagining like whether this will be at all the time, like we will be complementary to each other. Like I'll be helping the other to get understand whether this stage will be continuous in time. Like I used to
Yeah.
think like at one point of time, everyone will understand, everyone will be in complete content of imagination. But this statement, I will be complementary to each other means they'll be understanding difference at any point of time. This one,
Yeah.
are you able to get the point?
I think so. Let me just say what I think, and then you can, if your question is not answered, we can discuss it some more. So, when we are talking of the feelings in the UHV2 workshop, and when we are talking of trust, which is considered the foundational feeling without which the relationship cannot go further. Trust is one of those feelings that is naturally acceptable to us, right? Actually, what we want. So, this is what we have to make a distinction between what we want and what we are. These two may or may not be aligned. है ना? So, what we want, what is naturally acceptable to all of us, what is universal is that we want trust. We want there to be trust. And we want to be complementary to each other. We never want to harm anybody else. We never want to be in opposition with anyone else. Isn't it so? You can see that, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
That is universal. That is regardless of time, place, person. You ask a child, they also will want to, be complimentary. They will also want to be trusting. You ask anybody at any time, in any place, you will get that same answer because the natural acceptance is the same in all of us. And
So
what
the
is
want
trust?
part.
Ah, what is trust? it is trust on intention, trust on the natural acceptance. But there is another part to it, na? That is our competence. So our competence varies. In everybody, the competence may be different. You know? If I understand things better, I will make an effort to bring my thoughts, my feelings in alignment with my natural acceptance. It takes effort. Why does it take effort? Because we have our own different conditionings. We keep hearing, times are bad today, you can't trust anyone. Then this other, what we are talking about, trust on intention, that takes a back seat, and we also start behaving the same way. But we forget that our natural acceptance is something else. And anytime we are going against our natural acceptance, we don't feel so good inside. We don't feel so comfortable inside. Isn't it? So ultimately, we have to become aware of the natural acceptance. We have to become aware of the fact that different people have different competencies. But what I can do from my side, the first thing I can do is to increase my competence, be complementary to the other, and eventually help the other also to be complementary to others. This is what we are trying to do.
Yes. Oh, now
But
I
like
got
you
this,
said,
Didi.
yeah. So like
The
you said,
one font, yeah, one font will be always constant in time. Yeah,
yes,
right.
yes. And we need to be aware of that, pay attention to that, at least from our side. So what will happen
Yes,
with that is at least we will become happy. And with that, our concern for the other will drive us to help the other also. Yeah.
yes, Didi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, Didi.
Namaste.
Namaste, all. Didi, what is the source of this? We know that desire, thought, and expectations are going continuously in the self, these activities.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the source of this, Didi? Are self uses body parts to these thoughts, thinking, imagination, all these things are happening. We know that. Does self use body parts for this thinking and imagination?
See,
And
right
what is
now,
the
continue, finish your question.
and what is the source of all these desires and thoughts and expectations? Is there any uh, back which triggers these thoughts? Uh, at present, we know that these are triggered by some incidents and unfavorable
Mm-hmm.
situations. They trigger, but sometimes we don't even see those things, and at that time also we have all these things running in the self. How these source, how to identify this, Didi?
So if you go back to the UHV2 workshop, you attended UHV2 workshop?
Yes, Didi, I attended.
So there we had talked of 3 sources of desires. You remember that? One source
Yes, Didi, I preconditioning sensation.
and
Uh,
natural acceptance.
as I understand, Didi,
Yes.
but what I want to ask is, I am thinking, I am using any body part for that.
No, that's a different question. Sources is a different question.
Uh,
So if
okay,
you really want to
okay,
know
Didi.
about the sources,
Uh,
what
uh,
what is going on in my imagination? Like you mentioned
mm,
your question that
mm,
sometimes I feel it is unrelated. Still, I am thinking about it. You said thoughts are
mm,
there, but it will be better if we
mm,
say I am thinking about it. Because you do
mm,
have choice in the matter of what you think. You will
mm.
notice this. है ना? So we may
Yes,
have
Didi.
grown up in a particular environment, and based on that, we may have many experiences in the past, even experiences we don't remember. But whatever you don't remember also, your memory may not be that sharp. I'm not saying for you, I'm saying for in general, everybody. Somewhere within us, that incident, whatever is the crux of that, or this whatever summary we could take out of that, that is being stored in us without realizing. Some things we can recall. That's what we say is memory. Some things we don't recall. That we call it unconscious. You must have heard, conscious mind, unconscious mind. Whatever we can recall consciously, we say, yes, this is the reason for that. But many things we can't recall. But it got recorded in us. Recorded in us in meaning the impression is there in us. So when there is some situation, some environmental condition, when it can sort of come up, it does come up. But we don't have conscious memory of it, so we think, how did this happen? It's not my thought. I never think like this. How did I have this? Because somewhere past experience of some sort may have happened, and that has, that impression is there within us, but we weren't aware of it. And now that it comes up, we suddenly feel that I did not take the decision to do this. This is what happens with our sanskars. In the last exercise, we were talking about our sanskars. It's like a seed that you plant in the ground. Now, if you throw many seeds in the ground, right, and you cover them up with mud, or even if you don't cover up with mud, that also happens naturally in nature many times. So you throw many seeds in the ground. You may not actually throw the seed, but many seeds get, planted in the ground. But we'll take it like, what if you kept some seeds in the ground? Now, immediately the plant doesn't come up. It depends on many conditions, right? That seed to come up requires water, requires fertile soil, requires sunlight, at least these three things. Then only it comes up as a plant. Otherwise, it stays dormant in the soil. You may forget about it also. You don't know. You don't remember. But that seed is there in the ground. And when the conditions are appropriate for it, it comes up, the plant comes up. And sometimes if it's a tree of, a seed of a tree, it will grow into such a big tree from such a small seed. This is what our sanskars are like. So in our sanskars also, some experience happened some way back sometime, or somebody even said something we heard. Whatever we take in from the environment, right, that becomes our preconditioning. Now we think that's how it is. And it could be what the reality is, it could be something different from the reality. We don't know. We never asked. We just assumed that's how things are. Like this instance when I said, no, if we hear that this is a bad world and people are not to be trusted, things like that, then that becomes my conditioning. So my feelings, my thoughts start going in that direction for everybody. It may have started with one incident, but I generalize it to everyone because now it has become my sanskar. It is the way I think. It is that impression in me. But I am not even aware of it. So as I pay attention inside, I can become aware of many of my sanskars. And slowly I will see that those are the ones that are driving my feelings and thoughts many a time. Now, how to become aware of that and how to change that to being in touch with the reality, in line with the reality, is to focus on this third source of desires, of feelings, which we spoke of, the natural acceptance. So now, whenever I have a feeling which is not in line with my natural acceptance, the moment I check it, the moment I ask myself, is it naturally acceptable, not naturally acceptable? And I can see that what is naturally acceptable is what makes me happy, comfortable, calm. I slowly start having my feelings in line with my natural acceptance. So, what's happening here is slowly my sanskars are also changing. And in this process of referring to the natural acceptance, because these deep sanskars are more subtle, we may not be able to see them at present, but in this process, we will also be able to see our sanskars. Then it will become very clear that this is not worth keeping. I will drop it. Those that are worth keeping, I will keep. Then it is no longer a preconditioning. Then I will keep only those sanskars which are good, which are in line with natural acceptance. And the rest I will get rid of. Then my imagination can be totally in line with the natural acceptance. Can you see this?
Yes, Didi.
Mm.
I'm able to understand this, Didi. Those I can choose that thoughts also, like which are in line with my natural acceptance. Decision is taken by the self only, but thinking part, how it can self uses brain for that, for thinking. That is what I'm not able to understand.
Because you're focusing on the thoughts, go up a little more and check with the
Feeling.
feeling.
Mm.
You don't need your body for your feeling. Or do you?
Feeling means, for example, if I'm happy,
You're
or
calm, you're comfortable inside, you're in harmony. Are you
mm,
using the body?
no, Didi, I'm
You don't use
experiencing it.
it. Exactly.
Mm,
So the lower activities, you may use some part of the brain for calculations, for certain things related to form, related to the outside world, few things. But ultimately, for your feelings and for your higher activities, you don't need the body. And with those activities, actually, your sanskars, your feelings, those are what will decide your thoughts,
mm.
isn't it? So, not that
Uh,
using the brain is a
mm,
bad thing. It is just that when
mm,
you need to think about something, that you have to calculate something, you will use it. But when you don't
mm,
need to use it, why to unnecessarily, you know,
mm,
have thoughts which are not going anywhere? Waste thoughts, sometimes we call them, no?
mm,
But we spend a lot of time doing all that,
mm,
unnecessary thoughts. Yeah?
mm,
So if we focus on the feeling behind, and if we focus on our natural acceptance, we can be having the right thoughts, meaning thoughts in line with natural acceptance, feelings and thoughts in line with natural acceptance. And the first thing
mm,
that happens is you are calm, you're comfortable. Now, with being comfortable, even the things you have to do outside, you will find you can do them better.
mm.
You know? So that's why
Yes,
important to have that shift inward. Right?
mm. Yes, Didi. I've stuck up with this concept, Didi, earlier. Like I thought we are using eyes for seeing, and like that body parts are used for different purposes. And the same way, brain also used for that purpose. So can we use brain for in that way? thing, Didi. That's why I got this. Now, for lower activities, we can use the brain. And as you said, if we are calm, we are not using any body parts. That means all these things are happening in the self. Self is the pure, uh, self is having the control, and it is subtle. That's what
Yeah, I would say
I'm.
don't assume it. Don't just believe me. Try to look at it
Mm.
within you. That way, there will be surety in that, because then you will be able to see it for yourself. Okay.
Yeah, yes, Didi. I'm able to. I used to listen the spiritual sayings also by Didi, like Avyakt, Achint, Nirakar, like that. Those words I am able to observe, but this part I stuck up. But now I will explore further, Didi. I able to see the difference now.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Thank you, Didi.
thank you.
Yeah, namaste, Didi.
Namaste.
Yeah, so I would just want to share something.
Mhm.
In the month of March, my physical condition was in some bad shape, and during that I have also called you. And thereafter, I decided to change some routine and some diet, some exercise. And within these 3 months of time, my reports are completely normal.
Very
So
nice.
I could see that I could experience it that
Mhm.
when your desires are in line with natural acceptance, that is protection of body and uh, means having health in the body, and when you have such desires, even your expectations are also in line with that. So I could experience that all.
Very nice.
Yeah. So even at that time, I was a little afraid. A little concern was there that whether I'll be able to conduct workshops or not. But now, yesterday, I went to my doctor, and after looking into the test reports, he said you are completely fit and you can do all these things. So that was what I wanted to share. Thank you
Very,
very much for yeah.
very nice. Congratulations. Very nice to hear, and it will be very inspiring for many others.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Best wishes. Okay, no more questions are there. Let's go forward. Let's open up step 2. Then we'll, because we have been talking a little bit about step 2, but now we can do a little more of that. So in step 2, we are trying to observe the interaction between the self and the body. Who is observing? That should be very clear. I, the self, am observing. So what is this interaction between me and the body? We have discussed it earlier also, but just to recap and to go forward on this. So I give some instruction to the body. I give only those instructions to the body that I consider to be important. So whenever I want to take some work from the body, I give it some instruction, like get up, walk, sit down, so on. In the morning, when the alarm rings, I give the instruction, get up, get out of bed. Or sometimes I shut the alarm and I give the instruction, it's okay. We can rest for some more time, 10-15 minutes. And I give that instruction to the body, and the body keeps lying down on the bed, and so on. This we can try to observe. So this giving the instruction, this is a type of information. Similarly, on the basis of many events that take place in the body, some sensations happen. In fact, at the level of the body, we will say that there is some physiochemical change that happens. Isn't it? Some chemical is released, something is happening. When I pay attention to it, Now, to me, that is a sensation. I read this sensation and I only read that which I think is important. When I read that sensation, I taste that sensation, meaning I have an idea of whether I like it or I dislike it, and so on. So, this reading this sensation, this is also a type of information. So, interestingly, this interaction between the self and the body is only in the form of information. There's nothing physiochemical that is being transferred from the body to me or from me to the body. It's very interesting. So we think that if we eat something sweet, this pleasantness that we feel, this is because of what we ate. But nothing really is getting transferred from the body. It is only this information, isn't it? So many impacts can be there like this. Important to see is that all this interaction that we have between myself and the body is just interaction of, or passing of information from one to the other. Instruction going from me to the body, sensation that I read from the body. All this is information. Any question on this? This we will discuss in more detail as we go along. But right now, any question on this? Or any observation on this you'd like to share? Today, I think we can spend some time observing this interaction more closely. No? That when you give some instruction, the body does something. But especially where there is doubt, like when you wake up in the morning, what is happening? You are passing some instruction to the body. Is the body following? There is some sensation in the body. You are reading that sensation. You are giving some, you are coming to some conclusion, and then you are giving some instruction. This interaction is only information. Nothing physical or physiochemical is happening. So this we have to try to observe within us today. What you might want to do is, any activity that you're doing, try to do it a little slowly and then see what is happening in this interaction. Or if you sit in one position for a few minutes, now we don't have time, but anytime today is Sunday, even if 5-10 minutes you take out and you sit by yourself and you check, whenever you are sitting by yourself, you sit in some posture. Now that posture changes, or you get up, or something happens. What happened? You gave some instruction, then the body moved, or you read some sensation from the body, came to this decision to instruct the body to change the posture, or is it happening on its own? These things you can observe. But as we go further in the steps, we will talk about this in more detail. So for today, we can try to observe these things. And tomorrow, You can share your observations and go further on this.